Hey, this is Dr. Stan Harris, known as Dr. Breakthrough. You know, always give a disclaimer. I can't provide a breakthrough. I just prescribe the breakthrough. But when people follow my breakthrough prescription, God provides it. And what's a breakthrough? It's exploding through barriers that at one time seemed insurmountable. So, my friend, we're going to talk about a powerful topic today, a breakthrough topic. As a matter of fact, it's something that everyone needs. Now, if you are a man, you've got to have this. If you're a woman, you've got to have this. If you're married, you got to have this. If you have children, you've got to have this. If you're a coach, a mentor, whatever, you have to have this. And that's breakthrough leadership principles. I'm going to break down the word leaders and give you some powerful nuggets, some breakthrough nuggets that'll help you improve your leadership. Leadership is the highest paid profession. Leadership is the most honorable profession. And all of us, to some degree, are leaders. Now, here's what's amazing I want you to think about. The same way you think and look up to somebody else, there's somebody that looks to you the same way. And they deserve, my friend. By the way, I'm supposed to be wearing these blue blockers when I'm on the computer. I'm on the computer all the time, and they tell me this is supposed to be good for me. So let me put these on. Do I look more studious or anyway? But it's supposed to block my the rays or whatever it is. So anyway, let's talk about this real quick. So when it comes to breakthrough leadership, first of all, I want you to understand something. That is, first of all, few are born, right? Like very few leaders are born that way. And I know there's a few, but very few are born leaders. Now, most become leaders. So few are born, but most people become leaders, which means you may not, like I years ago didn't look at myself as a leader, and people kept telling me I'm a leader. I kept telling, what are they talking about, right? And so the crazy thing about this is that sometimes people can see things in us that we can't see in ourselves. And that's the powerful thing, by the way, of having a mentor. Because a mentor is someone who can see in you. A mentor is someone who can see in you what you can't see in yourself. A mentor is someone who's been somewhere you haven't been, done some things you haven't done, but see in you what you don't see and is willing to help you to accomplish and become all that you can be and achieve. And I often say to people that I lead and work with, hey, if you believe like I believe and do like I do, what happens for me can happen for you, but because I'm not the standard, it can happen even better for you. That's my desire. That's my prayer. That's why I do these podcasts. That's why I've got my mentoring site, www.theinternetmentor.com, where I actually have some free trainings. Now, a lot of paid trainings there, but just free trainings as well. But here's what I'm saying, my friend, because I want to empower people. So real quick, let's talk about this thing again, breakthrough leadership principles. Few are born, and so most become. So if you weren't a born leader, then okay, you still can become a leader. So some people have the position of leadership. Others have the power of leadership. And the best thing to do is to have both the position and the power. What do I mean by that? In other words, some people are in a position, they're the manager, they're the pastor, they're the leader, they're the president, they're the whatever, right? But they have the position, but they don't have the power. The person with the power is the one that people go to, right? And so, but it's good when you can have both the power and the position, and that's the way it ought to be. See, Joseph he was a prisoner, and eventually he became in charge. Get this now, while he was in prison, he became in command or in charge. And as a matter of fact, he then eventually became Pharaoh's father. He fathered Pharaoh, right, the ruler. So it doesn't matter where you are now. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you want to end up. And if you understand the power of leadership, if you understand, my friend, if you've got a pure heart, a good heart, and listen, my friend, God wants to use you to elevate your leadership. And it's kind of like what he did with Joshua. So Joshua followed Moses. By the way, write this down as a leader. If you're too big to follow, you're too small to lead. Ooh. Oh, come on. That's a writer downer right there. By the way, most people say, or a lot of people say note takers are money makers. Well, Dr. Breakthrough says that may be true, but Dr. Breakthrough says, but action takers are big money makers. And only real reason to take notes is so you can take action on the notes that you took. So again, we're talking about this leadership, breakthrough leadership principles. Again, my friend, it's powerful. So what is leadership? In a nutshell, leadership is the ability to create in others a desire to follow you in the way that benefits both them and you. Ooh, did you get that? See, leadership, true leadership is not dictatorship where people have to do what you say, and it's not manipulation either. True leadership is the ability to create in others a desire to follow you in a way that benefits both them and you. Now, Dr. Lee Robertson, many years ago, a pastor, he said a statement that's very powerful. You probably ought to write this down. Now, some people have heard John Maxwell say it, but John Maxwell got it from Lee Robertson. And that is, he said, everything rises and falls on leadership. I said again, everything rises and falls on leadership. That's not all the way true, though. So I got to get a caveat on that. See, watch this. Everything rises and falls on leadership, but once you've got good leadership, now everything rises and falls on fellowship. You say, Doc, what do you mean? Listen, God was the most perfect, great leader, greatest leader ever. But guess what? But Adam messed up because him and Eve didn't follow. Are you with me? So first, everything rises and falls on leadership. You got to get leadership right. But once you have the right leadership, now everything rises and falls on fellowship. And so you got to have the right leadership and you got to have the right fellowship. Man, is this good, extra good, or super good? Hey, you ought to make sure you promote this podcast. You ought to tell folks to subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed, man, what are you waiting for? Okay. Anyway, here we go. So breakthrough leadership lessons. And again, I'm breaking down and give you leaders, what the as an acronym form. But again, I want you to understand again, everything rises and falls on leadership, then everything rises and falls on fellowship. So once you have the right leadership, now you've got to have the right fellowship. And you ought to have good fellowship when you have good what? Leadership, right? So here we go. So leaders, Leaders, first of all, take the L. The word the L in leaders stands for lead. Now, when we say lead, first of all, you got to understand this. You cannot, here's a breakthrough leadership principle, you cannot and will not lead other people effectively until you first lead yourself. See, the reason now that I understand that I'm a good leader is because I've learned to lead myself. You say, what do you mean lead yourself? In other words, I learned to discipline myself. See, I learned to do things when I don't feel like it. See, here's what leaders do. Leaders do things, we do things when we feel like it. We do things when we don't feel like it. We just keep doing things until we do feel like it. Why? Because we're self-starters, we're self-motivators, and we first lead ourselves. See, so many people have this philosophy, do like I say and not as I do. Well, folks, if you're not doing it, why do you expect other people to do it? And if they do, when they find out you're not doing it, by the way, they're going to get upset, agitated, and probably stop following you. So again, the L in leaders, first of all, stands for lead, and you got to have self-leadership. You got to be self-disciplined. So write this down. First of all, you got undisciplined. That's what I call the baby stage. Then a higher stage is disciplined, and that's a teenage stage. But the highest stage, the leadership stage, is self-discipline. That's the adult stage. So again, baby stage is undisciplined. So write this down. An undisciplined person will not learn. They will destroy themselves, society, or both. I remember years ago when I wanted to get started in martial arts, and I said, I just want to learn self-defense. And they said, no, we got to first teach you self-discipline. I said, no, I don't want self-discipline. I just want self-defense. They said, no, if we teach you self-defense without self-discipline, you'll be like an uncontrollable weapon. You'll harm others, and you'll eventually harm yourself. So I said, okay, I don't care. Whatever this self-discipline is, if I got to learn that first, fine, let's do it, right? But the self-discipline is the thing that really changed my life. I thought I wanted to learn self-defense, but I really needed the self-discipline. And when I got self-discipline, I really didn't need the self-defense, because with the self-discipline comes the confidence, and that confidence where you carry yourself. Anyway, it's amazing, my friend. So again, 3 stages. Baby stage is undisciplined. And a baby, is born, the baby just, when it wants to go to the bathroom, it just goes. That's why they got to put Pampers on, diapers, right? And because when it's time to go to potty, Babies don't care where they at. They just go. Undisciplined, no control, no, you know what I mean? They can't even hold their head up, right? And they can't, and they're sliding all over. But that's okay. That's the baby stage, but that's undisciplined. And by the way, so many people today are undisciplined. Nobody's talking much about discipline and character these days. And so people just do whatever they want. And they don't. No. Listen, my friend, I'm telling you, if you're going to be a leader, if you're going to separate yourself from the pack, if you're going to be the type of person that instills in others a desire to follow you, you're going to have to be a leader. You're going to have to lead yourself. You got to learn to do things in the dark that nobody sees, that eventually, my friend, in the light, everybody's willing to follow. Oh, let me say it again. You got to do things in the dark that nobody else sees. So when you're in the light, people are willing to follow. And what they don't understand, the power that you have to lead is because of what you've done in the dark when they couldn't see it. See, my friend, again, the undisciplined stage, like the baby, just go. But then again, disciplined stage, like the teenage stage. So that's where you just, and I told my children were growing up, I was like, look, the teenage year is going to be easy. All you got to do is do what your mom and I tell you. That's it, right? And that's discipline. If I say, go pick up this or clean up your bed and they do it, or make up your bed, right? That's discipline, right? Now, undisciplined is I tell you what to do, you don't do it. Now, undisciplined, you're going to get disciplined. I'm still old-fashioned. Watch this now. But here's what I'm saying. But you understand what I'm saying? Do you see in our society where we have so many undisciplined people, they just say whatever they want to say, do it. Just, it's crazy, my friend. And again, the suicide rate now is going higher than ever before. Undisciplined, my friend. Now, I know there's some traumatic circumstances that people go through, but you got to be disciplined enough to tell yourself, no, I'm not going to take my own life. Right, that's still part of discipline. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, my friend. And so here's what I'm saying though. Breakthrough leadership principle. You got to lead yourself. Somebody said, I'd rather see a lesson than hear one any day. I'd rather one should walk with me than merely point the way. The eye's a better pupil, more willing than the ear. Find counsel is confusing, but example is always clear. And the best of all the teachers are the ones who live their creeds. For to see the good in action is what everybody needs. For I may misunderstand you in the good advice you give, but there's no misunderstanding how you act and how you live. So again, we got to go from that undisciplined baby stage, the disciplined teenage stage, we do what you're told, but then you got to do the adult stage, that self-discipline where you're the one making yourself. That's what I told my children. I said, y'all got it easy now. You just got to do what we tell you. But listen, the day's going to come, you'll be on your own. And if you can't even listen to us, what we tell you to do, you're not even going to listen to yourself. You're not going to listen to any authority. So you're going to end up getting in trouble, my friend. Listen, I'm telling you, our country is going wild and going crazy because people don't have discipline. And guess what? You can easily separate yourself and be a leader if you just practice some self-discipline, my friend. So again, when we talk about leaders, we said, first of all, you gotta lead, right? You gotta lead yourself. But also, my friend, when you lead, you have to lead with love, right? You gotta lead with love. So, and you gotta continue to learn. You got to continue to learn. See, learners, this is good. I think Scott Hoffer said this, learners shall inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to live in a world that no longer exists. That means those of us went to school and got all these degrees, my friend. I'm telling, listen, it's not even relevant these days. So you gotta constantly be learning. It was, I forget the name of the gentleman, but he said the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but rather those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Right? I mean, man, with the invention of AI, all the different things is going, you got to be constantly. So a true leader is somebody, listen, my friend, they learn. Come on now. And by the way, they also, leaders, breakthrough leadership principle, the L in leaders, we also leap. Come on now, we leap. I talk about my book. I don't have a copy here, I think. But one of my books, my international best-selling book, Your Breakthrough is Guaranteed, 7 Simple Steps to Your Success, which, by the way, you can find this on drbreakthrough.com. And, oh, my goodness, so many people's lives are transformed. As a matter of fact, one seminar I had an 81-year-old lady that I taught how to break a board. 81-year-old lady, and when she broke the board, all the rest of the 110 people in the room came running up, ready to break it. There was even an 8-year-old boy that was there with his dad, and we helped him to break a board. Matter of fact, we got a picture of that as well. But anyway, but in this book, I mean, I get some powerful things, my friend, that help you in your leadership and help you to grow and learn. But I talk about the grasshopper. And what I talk about here in the grasshopper is they couldn't figure out how this little bitty thing they thought he must fly, but then they said, no, he doesn't really have wings. So what's happened? They found out. Here's what they found out. That grasshopper learns about lifting properly or jumping and then timing. And so it jumps at the right appropriate time to get caught by the gust of wind that carries it, which makes it seem like it can fly. And see, learners, get this now, leaders, true leaders, they're lifters. They'll lift themselves and lift others up, but also they do things in the right timing. So watch this, my friend, and so you get so much more done. So these are breakthrough leadership principles, my friend, and that is, again, that'll help you, my friend. Okay, and by the way, leaders oftentimes are lonely. That's right. They're lonely, but guess what? But oftentimes loaded. That's right, because influence brings money, and money brings more influence. But real quick, I didn't mean to be all that time on that. So breakthrough. Is this helping anybody? Yes, or of course, yes. So the L. Now the E stands for empower. Empower. See, by the way, I used to help people. I no longer help people. Why? Because they say 8 out of 10 people that drown, they get drowned by trying to save somebody else. And the other person they're trying to save, because they're scared to death, they're just flailing around and they end up hitting the person, and the other person goes down and drowns with them, right? And so what I do now, instead of helping people, I empower. What's the difference? Helping is me trying to jump in. Now, if it's a baby, it's something different, or a little child. But if it's a grown person, I throw in a life preserver. And I say, now, if you grab the life preserver, I'm going to pull you in. See, I'm empowering you. Here's something you can do. Now you do it. Bam. Right? If not, I'm going to preach the best eulogy they ever heard. Okay. I'm laughing, but I'm serious, my friend, because, again, folks about almost killed me when I was trying to help them. So, again, leaders empower. Leaders empower. By the way, the E in leader, we don't just empower, but we're empathetic, right? We're enthusiastic, right? Some people say, man, you're like a cup of energy drink for the mind. You're like a cup of healthy coffee for the brain, man. I just get energized. By the way, one of my mottos and my purpose in life is I ignite and reignite a passion of people for life, for love, for the Lord, and for business. But a leader does that for folks, okay? Also, the word A stands for adapt. Adapt. Now, one of my sons, Joshua, was in the Marines. And I made a mistake one time of saying, he used to be a Marine. He's like, no, Dad, it's called prior service. Because once a Marine, always a Marine. I said, okay. But if you heard the Marine, their philosophy is simple. Improvise, adapt, and overcome, right? Adapt and overcome. So leaders, the L, then the E, now the A, stands for adapt. Leaders have to learn to adapt. Why? Because things are constantly maneuvering and changing. Now again, we don't adapt our principles, right? But this methods. See, methods are many, principles are few. Methods may change, but principles never do. But you have to adapt to what's going on. And another word would be adjust. One of my main mentors, who's now in heaven, Charlie Tremendous Jones, who wrote the book Life is Tremendous. I never forget, we were speaking together in Dallas, which of course now I live in Dallas. I used to live in Pennsylvania, where he lived. Of course, he's in heaven now. But anyway, and so we were going to speak at this event. He said, Doc, so what do you think is the reason why most people fail? I said, well, I have an idea, but you're the mentor. You tell me. He said, because they don't plan. And I was like, well, that's pretty much what I would say. He said, but do you want to know why most people that plan, why they fail? I said, well, okay, wait. You just said, do I want to know why I'm working up a sweat here? You just said, why do most people fail? And I said, most people fail because they don't have a plan. And now you're saying, but the reason most people with a plan, they fail. And I said, okay, why? He said, because they stick to their plans. I was like, what? He said, yeah. He said, see, when you make a plan, he said, usually it takes so long to reach your plan or get there. He said that things have changed or things have shifted a little bit. And he said, what happens is if the people that get more committed to the plan than they do the purpose of what they made, for which they made the plan. Now, he didn't quite say it that way, but I'm saying it that way to break it down a little bit more. So he said, so like he said, for instance, a railroad, they could have owned all of transportation, but they said, nope, we're just in the railroad industry. So they could have had flight, buses, air, nope, we just do railroad, right? And so listen, so many people and so many businesses and leaders, they have to understand that, yes, you've got to make a plan, but it's not planning, it's flexible planning that makes a person successful. And so again, and so, one of the things I learned, I kind of got a lead foot. I drive a lot fast. I do like just about everything fast, right? And so anyway, so I learned this from a pastor friend that said, look, when you get stopped by police, say thank you for correcting me and helping me to get better. I was like, wow, that's right. Yeah. And sometimes, I tell people, I said, look, I was like, well, if I can share some with you, it may not be all the way positive. I'm like, look, you can't hurt me by helping me to be better. If something's going to help me to be better, come on, share it, right? I got pulled over by this policeman, and I said, he said, matter of fact, as soon as I saw his light come on, I pulled right over. And so then he came up and he said, well, what'd you pull over for? I said, well, look, I know I was speeding. You know I was speeding. I don't have to wait for you to turn your light on and come after me. And I said, by the way, I said, I was in the wrong. So I said, thank you for correcting me and helping me to get better. And I'm going to be better because of this. He's like, man, I never had anybody with attitude like this. He says, and you're so honest. He said, I tell you what, we just kind of slow it down. He said, I'm going to let you go. Just go on, man. And just take a warning. Just go. And my wife's like, I can't believe this, right? And I think I was doing like 74 and a 60. Anyway, I saved myself hundreds of dollars, plus points on my record. That would have cost me thousands. But again, just being flexible and learning as a leader, again, learning, and again, the E, empowering, and then the A. And that A also stands for accountable. Why? See, we have to all have somebody we're accountable to because, see, somebody said power corrupts and absolute power can corrupt absolutely. So we have to have some checks and balances. And so you got to have people that you have accountability with. And even when I have my 21-day breakthrough challenge, I tell people, get you a breakthrough accountability partner, somebody that's going through it with you, and y'all can just talk maybe once a week and just to make sure, because that's why people get a trainer. We can work out. We don't need a trainer, but when you have a trainer, that's accountability, right? A doctor, a dentist, that's all accountability. We all know what we should do in our health and brush our teeth and floss and all, but hey, well, you're going to see that doctor, all of a sudden you brush extra, you floss extra and everything, right? Oh my goodness. And also the A stands for ambitious, right? Ambitious. And I could go on, but let's keep on. So again, breakthrough leadership principles. The D stands for decisive. The D stands for decisive. If you want to improve your leadership skills and have people follow you, people love people that can make up their mind as decisive. Instead of like, well, we're going to do it. Well, no, I'm not sure. No, a leader, listen, like when I walk into a restaurant 9 times out of 10, I already know. Now, if I've been there before, but I already know what I want, right? So, but you got to be decisive, my friend. Matter of fact, my wife said, baby, you're so decisive. If other people don't have their minds made up, you'll help making it up for them. But decisive. And if you're going to be a leader, breakthrough leadership principle, being decisive, and also dreams, right? Dreams, the letter D stands for dreams. And dreams, my acronym for dreams, DREAMS, divinely revealed events awaiting manifestation supernaturally. Come on, man. Man, is that good. I said divinely revealed events awaiting manifestation supernaturally. But I got to. And the D stands for delegate. Henry Ford, years ago, when he was on the stand, and the attorney said, man, you're not a very smart man. He said, you don't know how to do this, and you don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do this. He said, you're not a very educated man. And Henry Ford said in court, you're exactly right, but I'm probably a lot smarter than you give me credit for. He said, I don't know a bunch of things, but I've hired other people who are experts in that area. And so I shore up my weaknesses by having a team of people, and we all work together. Isn't that amazing? See, my friend, the D stands for develop. See, the largest room in the world is the room for personal development. I used to travel and speak with Jim Rohn. He said a formal education will help you make a living, but personal development will help you make a fortune. Well, now that he's in heaven, I said, listen, why just make a living? Why not make a fortune so you can be blessed to be a blessing to others? Come on now. Hey, the E in leaders, again, breakthrough leadership principle. The E in leaders stands for expect. See, leaders expect more. Leaders aren't like everybody else that just settles. No, leaders expect more. So here's what happens. Most people, they lower their expectation to meet their experiences. No, leaders said, no, I'm going to have my expectation and raise my experience up to my expectation. By the way, you normally get what you expect. If you don't expect much, you don't experience much. But when you expect much, you'll learn to execute more. And when you expect and execute, you then experience. Come on, somebody. Come on now. And then the E is for entrust. And that is, we as leaders, we pour into others. And like the scripture says in 2 Timothy 2:2, and the things which thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. So a real leader, we're going to teach those teachable people to teach others, right? So teach others, again, teach teachable people who will be empowered to teach others. Wow. Okay, and then real quick, R stands for read. R stands for read. Again, leaders are readers. Now, not every reader is a leader, but every leader is a reader, right? Here's another book that I'm part of here, and in this anthology. And actually, Nadia put the book. I got a bonus chapter in here. Powerful, powerful book. But anyway, but here's what I'm saying, my friend. You're constantly reading and reading and reading and reading. Why? Because a man or woman who does not read is worse than a man or woman who cannot read. And my acronym for READ, R-E-A-D, receive empowerment, authority, dominion. See, if you read, now again, listening to CDs, watching videos, watching, specials and all this and watching empowering, that's great. But you got to get down and read, my friend. And the R also in leaders stands for risk. See, write this down. Risk is the ledge that gives winners the edge. And by the way, there's always a risk versus reward. So leaders, we take a calculated risk. See, some people, followers, are so focused on get this now, there's risk and reward. Leaders, we focus so much on reward, we're willing to deal with the risk. Average everyday people focus so much on the risk, they don't even want to go after the reward. See? So, but risk is the ledge that gives winners and leaders the edge. And so resilient, by the way, the Bible says a just man falleth 7 times, riseth up again, right? And then lastly, leaders, the S is for serve. It's for serve. It's all about serving. The servant, the scripture says, is the greatest of all. So the more people that I serve, the greater I will be, the greater influence I'll have. And by the way, the greater amount of money, because the more problems you solve for people. One of my mentors, William E. Bailey, he had a company grossing $64 million a month back in the 70s. No email, no fax machine. I was like, how'd you do that? He said, you're asking me the wrong question. You should have asked me how many people's lives I added value to that resulted in $64 million. He said, see this, young Dr. Breakthrough? If you bring value to the marketplace, you can't help but receive value back from the marketplace. So that's why I say daily, you might want to write this down. I say this daily. Money flows freely and frequently from expected and unexpected sources in exchange for the value that I consistently bring to the marketplace. Ooh, that's so good. I hear you say, Doc, I'm trying to write it down. Okay, let me say it again. I said, money flows freely and frequently from expected and unexpected sources in exchange for the value that I consistently, notice the word, value that I consistently bring to the marketplace. Wow. Wow. And by the way, an S in leaders also stands for suffer. You're going to suffer some betrayal. See, get this. You can have anything you want as long as you're willing to pay the price for it. And the price is you will... See, behind the glory, there's always a story, and the story sometimes is so gory, they don't really want to tell you about it. But I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be a leader, you're going to suffer. You're not just going to serve, you're going to suffer. Paul said, the more abundantly I love, the less I'll be loved. That doesn't make sense. It seems like the more he's loving, the more he should get loved back. No, the more abundantly I love, the less I be loved. You're going to suffer betrayal like Jesus. Here's Judas, gives him a kiss of betrayal. But Jesus looked at him and said, friend, I don't have time to teach on this right now. Friend, what am I? No, Jesus saying, friend, you think, you're betraying me. Yeah, this is some physical pain I'm about to go through. But guess what? This is part of what the purpose of my life is. That's why I came. So you think you're doing me bad. Like Joseph said, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good to save much people alive. So see, leaders have a totally different awareness than everybody else. And also, by the way, leaders are the first to forgive. That's amazing, right? Last to be forgiven, but first to forgive, right? So anyway, so what I want to do again is empowering. I'm all about empowering emerging leaders to experience and to be able to experience and break through any barrier that would hinder their effectiveness. These breakthrough leadership principles will do just that. Now, if you go to the internetmentor.com, I actually have a course that goes more into detail in this. If you go to theinternetmentor.com, THE, theinternetmentor.com, again, I've got free stuff there, but also I've got the course in detail. If you like this, honey, you ain't seen nothing until you go through the course, and it'll change your life. So come on, like my podcast, share it with some people. Did you get anything from it? Give me some good reviews, and make sure you subscribe so the next time I put out a episode, you get access to that. So breakthrough leadership principles, I promise you, it'll change your life for the rest of your life. I guess I had to take out my glasses to find out how to